Yeah. That's the smart Michael Kirshner right there.
Darn it, wasn't it?
That was okay. Oh, okay.
He should be eligible to run for commissioner about 2032, shouldn't he?
I think actually before that.
I turned 18.
He just turned 5. Well, I hope the Stacy family can get everybody in the damn family to be a commissioner. You think we can?
You're running against Grandpa.
Pardon me?
You're running against Grandpa.
Yeah. I would bow out.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. Join me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join Commissioner Stacy for prayer.
Please join me for prayer. Lord, thank you for this day. And as we come off of the opportunity to have the holiday, Martin Luther King Jr., may we all remember, and hopefully took the time to pause yesterday, and what that symbolizes, and as we all work to try to work for the greater good. Be with all of those who are protecting our country, those who are keeping our state and our country safe through these extreme weather conditions that we're dealing with. Be with us as we make the best decisions we can for those we serve. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Roll call.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
I'll accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. Okay, any adjustments?
I have two.
Okay.
Just a real brief report from the Foster Economic Development meeting, and I'd like to bring up the HR assessment.
Okay. Michael?
I'm good.
Okay. I just want to finish some reorganization talks, specifically as it relates to the calendar. So if you don't mind, if we could do that and the agenda. So is it all right if we continue on Thursdays through April and cancel the February 21st meeting? We had CASA coming in, but we have some schedule conflicts that day, just so we can get some of these bids placed on. Does that work for
I'm
everybody?
okay with it. Yep.
So Thursdays minus the 21st of February,
Yeah.
and Thursdays all the way through April.
Right.
Yeah. Good with you. Just gonna mark it good.
Okay, good. And then, as far as agenda, did you want to, were you guys interested in moving to the new agenda that I proposed with
Absolutely.
the executive director report? She's probably not gonna put it up unless we make her.
You're gonna bring one elected or one department head in?
We can try and do
Once
that.
or twice a month? Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
We'll
okay.
make
Some of the
those-
annuals scheduled
Yeah.
for
Okay.
January and February, so.
Good.
Good.
So Nikki, we'll get together on that after, so you can use the new format. Okay. Do we need a formal motion to accept the agenda, the schedule? Okay. All right, what do you have, Holly?
Foster Economic Development Corp. board meeting was last Thursday morning. Some of the highlights of continuing things, the Fostoria, Jobs Fostoria campaign continues to work really well for them with their website, and driving the job seekers as well as the employers to that. So they were reporting on that. Of course, they're very happy with the results of how the land bank has made a difference for Fostoria. And then specifically, put out the annual meeting date is April 18th.
Wait.
So more to come on that. It's a breakfast morning meeting.
On the land bank, did she talk about the number of houses that have been either raised or redone?
She did, and I didn't write it down, so I can't
Okay,
quote
but I
those
mean, it's
numbers.
a significant number, I guess.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
approaching
very
100.
significant number.
Yeah.
It's over 100, I believe.
Yeah,
Yep.
good.
And have they increased their staffing? Has it happened?
Not yet,
Okay.
Not yet.
Looking,
yeah.
okay. HR assessment?
I just wondered when are we gonna schedule a meeting to have the discussions on this? That's all I wanted to make sure we talked about the when.
When?
Did we have a date set?
No, not yet.
Not yet, okay.
We had canceled the
I didn't know
last
if we
one.
wanted to try to get it in, so before we get, in the next 30 days, so we,
Yeah, I think we may have to get her on the phone,
Mhm.
so maybe it'll be a phone conference.
okay.
Uh,
Because I just thought if we could, within 30 days or so, we get to the point of knowing we're gonna have that discussion to see what direction we go with this. I just don't want us to lose
Yeah.
a good chunk of the year, and I think it's a good assessment.
Absolutely.
For the benefit of everybody else, can you just say
Oh.
what the process, what we went through and what we're talking about?
Yeah, we had Lori Hall with First Insurance Group do a human resource assessment for the county, where she spoke with the majority of anybody who carries out any human resource responsibilities under the county's umbrella. And with that assessment, found out how they do things, how it comes about, their comfort with things, their concerns with things, that kind of stuff. In fact, even in the assessment, the aspect of, which I kind of liked, was maybe adding to this was talking to a few of the hires, especially maybe anybody hired in the last couple of years, just to ask about how comfortable they felt, how long did it take them to feel comfortable, did they feel the onboarding process was good, bad, non-existent, what was it, that kind of thing, because it's responsibilities that are getting carried out following law, but not without some burden on top of somebody jumping in to do this, play HR director right now for their department, and then they're back to the regular job when they don't have to hire. And it's kind of been, a lot of that going on, a lot of movement going on, because it's very competitive for the marketplace. And so we certainly want the process to be good for the county. We're back to the same thing we've been at for a few years now. We're competitive. We need to be competitive with the hiring, as countywide, we need to be competitive with keeping good people here in the county working for any employer. But the whole process of how we do that and not make it a burden on employees and departments is important, so I'd like to just continue that.
Yeah, I think that the main issue, at least from my chair, is that we have a lot of folks who do human resource function part-time and that's really not their main job responsibility. We have 300+ employees in the county.
No more than that, almost.
Almost.
Including School of Op, we're probably close to 600.
Okay, so with that many folks and with all the laws that change in the human resource function, family medical leave, all kinds of issues like that, that it would make sense from the county standpoint, I believe, to have a human resource professional so that the applications are similar, so that the orientation is similar, so that any concerns or complaints can be filtered rather than through their own offices, some report to elected officials. It can be routed through a completely different department that would be able to handle their concerns more easily and more transparently. So it is, it is almost unbelievable that with 600 employees that we really don't have a true human resource professional on staff. So I really think that we need to look towards that. I'm not sure what her final conclusions will be, except for what I read.
Yeah.
But I assume that most of them are that we need to be more consistent and that we need to be able to have a single point of entry, if you will, when we hire someone, and a process that we need to go through each time.
So, yeah, I appreciate Commissioner Kirchner and Commissioner Stacy have been talking about this for 4 years, and this is a great way to bring it to a head. So if we can get something scheduled and we can keep this moving, teleconference is fine, go-to meeting would be perfect. If she can put up her report, we can talk through it, whatever.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you. If it's all right with you two, we'll skip treasurer appointment for the moment. We have someone
Doug?
coming.
Yep. At 10, Doug? He was on our schedule for 10 o'clock.
Okay. Very good.
It's on the back page.
Ah, yeah, Doug.
She
Welcome,
tries-
Doug.
She tries to fool us.
Thank you. I'm gonna hand you some documents that we'll be discussing very briefly here today. Okay. Is here okay? Okay, great, thank you. I try to provide brief overviews of these state programs. My name is Doug Smith. I live in Columbus. I am a product of Seneca County, though, so happy to be back in Tiffin. But wanted to take a few minutes and just walk through what my company does. It's IAP Government Services Group, and we provide on state contract counties and other local entities with project management services. And so we are the exclusive state contractor for local governments to come in and manage projects from start to finish, construction, facilities, upgrades, related projects. A perfect example is Seneca Park District. Right now we're working with them to administer a maintenance garage, new construction out at one of their parks. So that would be one example of the types of projects we get involved in. One thing that came up talking with Stacy about different projects that you guys have in the pipeline is the museum. I wanted to talk specifically about a portion of our program that talks about energy reduction and using the savings on the back end of that, installing whether it's HVAC or electrical systems or lighting, controls, things of that nature, using the savings and the cost savings on the utility bills to pay. It's called what we call a capital lease program. That's guaranteed by state House Bill 295 from about 4 years ago now. If you look at this sheet right here with the very detailed bar graph, as you'll see there, you'll see kind of how this process works in general. What we do is we analyze what your current energy bills are for a specific building. In this case, the museum. We would analyze what the electric and utility bills are for that facility, and basically make projections on what new equipment would be installed and what the cost savings would be on that new equipment. And then based on this House Bill 295, you're guaranteed those savings on the back end. You never have to come out of pocket on the front end. The capital lease is not considered debt in your budget, so it's a completely separate bucket that the state provided a mechanism for legally for you guys to be able to do this. And you don't even have to go out to bid, which is a good thing too. So part of our program with this energy reduction process specifically is we can take a look at any building on its own, and what we talked about was potentially doing that for the museum, because that would allow you to upgrade the museum, become more compliant, and also save energy and pay it off on the back end.
Before you leave that topic, talk to me about design, because one of the concerns that we've had here is that the museum is a special place where we want certain climate controls. Is that covered here? Because
yes.
It's not just a commercial building.
So part of the assessment includes what design it would take, having the specific climate controls in those specific rooms. A lot of, in a situation like this, a lot of it boils down to controlled temperatures in the rooms. Perfect example, Bucyrus Library. We're working on their project right now with this program, and what we're doing is they have kind of a museum, if you will, and a portion of their older portion of the building. So they have very old books and documents and things of that sort that they want very specifically controlled with climate. And so the controls that they have currently, they press one button for 70 degrees and it covers the whole building, which might be 80 degrees in that very special room, and it might be 60 degrees over here on the other side of the building. So what our assessment does is basically says, how do we get the design to meet your standards for the climate control in each room? And that's all included in the price of the install. So the design, we would take a look at that from the assessment at the very beginning and say, okay, this is what the design is going to cost, but we wrap it into the program on the back end. So you don't have to come out of pocket for that. It's paid for by the cost savings.
I could potentially see a situation where certain air handlers would be required, electrical upgrades, complete electrical upgrade would be required. is there a point where you hit it and you say, there is no payback on that, or you're gonna have to get into your pocket?
Yeah, that would be part of the assessment period. So what we do is we provide an initial first step assessment, basically looking at your utility bills saying, okay, this is based on the square footage, this is really wacky, or this is about right, or this is what it might look like. And then what we do is provide a very detailed assessment and analysis. This is the second phase of that kind of pre-install period, where we actually, take I'm not an electrician, so I don't know the proper terms, but you take the thing and you put it on the voltage, you check all the units of measurement, and that gets very detailed. So to answer your question, yeah, there might be a situation where that arises, but you would know well ahead of time before agreeing to doing something. And for the record, we haven't run into that yet.
Is there a cost or charge for the assessment?
There's no cost.
Higher.
Great. Thanks.
That's when you stop talking.
Anything you say from this point
That's very good. One other, any more questions on the energy program? Okay, thank you. So feel free, through Stacy, to ask me questions, or you have my card, so you can email me or shoot me a call. The other page I left with you is just kind of our overview of our project management process in general. On the back side, there are two process maps. I'm kind of a process thinker, so for me it helps visualize the intangible process. On the bottom, you'll see kind of the typical process of public bid and public advertisement and hiring a designer to come in and prior to construction, and then during construction hiring a consultant or somebody on your staff to manage construction. Our state contract allows a turnkey solution to basically come in and manage all of that for you from start to finish. What we do is we don't charge anything pre-construction. Our services are no cost to you guys. So what that would include is scope of work development, bid document preparation, basic assessments, analysis on projects, concept design, cost estimating, things of that sort. And then during construction, we actually do manage the actual on-site construction components. So any projects that you would have that are outside of your normal staff bandwidth, your staff capacity, or maybe outside of your expertise with in-house staff, maybe toss it to us to give it project management services. So there you go.
I think that was the project, or that was the process we were trying to go through with the museum.
Yeah.
Which it ends up being a little bit more than needing just a project manager, just because we don't know what heating and cooling we need. We don't know what electrical we need. So this is that's the process we started going with the first time, that I kind of had to stop and reevaluate.
So this is kind of a second bucket option for you guys to either go the energy reduction route or the project management route. So, and both of those are on state programs.
I was especially impressed with your knowledge of electrical when you said you stick the thing.
Stick the thing in the thing.
I really got like
I'm
that.
here to be a resource for you guys, so I'm happy to help.
I understood it.
I know they're metal and they make noises when you touch them on stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
I do.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you for your.
Any comments for the advisory board, or?
Well, I mean, we have been talking about making certain that the electrical system and the humidity control, the HVAC system in that building needs to be brought up. This, just needs to get out of the 1960s pretty soon.
Yeah.
So this
1860s?
So
That's
this
the
would,
carriage
we still have knob and tube in there, so we need to, we really need an assessment quickly.
Great.
And the price is exactly what I was looking for.
Thanks. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Deb. Do we want to give Stacy some direction on that? Do we want to take a formal action?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the process get started as soon as you can get that done.
I'll take that as a motion.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
second that.
Okay.
Because I'll
All those
right
in
now.
favor? Aye. There we go.
Okay.
All right, we can, if that would make you feel better. Roll call.
Yes. Oh,
Yes. Can't vote for
Commissioner Kirschner.
yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Thomas.
You got it. All right, we have our distinguished honorable treasurer here, and we'd like to talk about the treasurer appointment. My understanding is Damon has a potential recommendation for us, so give him the floor.
Well, I agree with the past statements. Appointing somebody outside that's currently thrown their hat in the ring and seeking that appointment probably is not the best. Could be perceived as an endorsement. So, interim, I guess we're only talking 7 to 14 days. I assume it would be somebody in the office. Nobody in our office is currently seeking said appointment. In talking with them, my recommendation would be for Becky Holman to be appointed interim treasurer. They're all qualified in the office, but Becky's been handling everything with NIP and the land bank, and we currently have all those applications in process. And it may be easier for her just to, if any issues arise, she's current acting treasurer until said appointment by the central committee. She can take care of any issues. She's familiar with Renee and the mayors and everything else, and the land bank and those procedures. Day-to-day operations will be fine. Staff's well-versed in that, so that's not an issue.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I just want to say, we appreciate the relationship we've had with you, and we appreciate the fact that you've brought somebody forward, so thank you for that. We're going to miss you in the treasurer's office, and I feel very confident that we have a lot of good candidates, and that the Republican Central Committee will do their job. So,
Yeah.
Hey, good luck with being magistrate.
Oh,
Congratulations.
thank you. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. I've been lucky enough to have good boards to work with in the treasurer's office, and for the most part, all the departments, everybody works well together, and
What do you mean for the most part?
so, I mean, but, we've
we're going to hear
done,
what was on Damon's mind.
Time's come, this is it.
but, it's been a good run, and we've seen a lot of successes in what we've done in the office in terms of the land bank on demolition of properties, the interplay with the departments at the prosecutor's office. I think we've done a lot of good in the 9+ years I've been there, so.
I think you have.
Thank you.
Congratulations, thank you.
We agree. Roll call.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. Okay, send our congratulations to Becky.
Yeah. Short term, but.
Tell her we'd like to see her later today.
I didn't know. You never know when you're hailed by the commissioners. Question is, you above or below the fold?
So,
I'll see you guys.
thanks, David. All right, let's bring back the master plan. Mike, you had read and had a recommendation of how you wanted to take a peek at it, so
Yeah.
I guess we'll put that on the floor for discussion.
Interesting proposals. Question I have is just regardless of the money they put in the proposals, are we prepared to do this, or are we ready to spend any amount of money on this? That's, I guess, the discussion I think we need to have. Sounds great and all that, and sure it'd be money well spent. I just don't know that we were anticipating that. I guess
Well, I from my standpoint, I don't think that we're professional, that we have enough knowledge about building and facilities to be able to make intelligent decisions. And we know that we've got some situations with buildings that need some assessment. And we know that we probably are gonna have to create some space, either by building or by remodeling certain buildings that are out there. It seems to me that we've got situations where it's probably costing us more to maintain certain facilities than it would to build a new structure and amortize over a period of time. I don't know that for sure. That's my sense. I would like somebody that knows that to be able to tell us. I think that we need to move this thing forward, and the only way to really do that is to get empirical data that tells us whether the buildings whether they would make sense to redo them, or whether we ought to just take a couple out and replace them with some other type of facility. I think that's what we're down to, and I don't know the answer to those questions. Hopefully, these folks will at least guide us in that direction.
And if we come to the conclusion of, you know, a consensus, I guess, on which group we're interested in, can we have them come in, whether it's a work session or just a meeting, and just pick their brain through what they outlined for us to kind of make sure? I mean, I'm not against, I didn't know what, like I said, we needed to have that discussion on how we proceed with this.
So
But,
would you like to talk to both of them before we make a decision? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think we need to talk, I mean, I guess it depends on the consensus
Right,
here.
right,
If we
right.
are at consensus, I don't think we need to talk to both, but I guess before we for sure sign the contract or, you know, bless moving forward, I'd just like to have discussion with them, just to make sure that we all assume the same thing. You know, like I said, it's outlined, but again, there's, you know, details in the weeds to make sure. I think it'd be helpful if we're at, I don't think we need to talk to both if we're on the consensus of the same group. I favor Gosman's proposal over CT's, my
Yeah.
opinion.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, okay. And just my comments on that is, you know, really this emanates out of the strategic plan that, you know, you started 4 years ago in the building committee, and this is a natural evolution of it where we add a level of professionalism to it, and we did have some concentrated meetings back in the fall, I guess it was, with stakeholders out at the county farm, and there seemed to be an interest in moving forward with more master planning, and we know we've got building issues. So it's painful, but I think it's a gift to future boards to have a plan. And
Yeah, and I think we could do some things on our own, but I'm not sure they would be the wisest things to do without an ongoing long-term plan.
Okay, so I heard a motion last week from Mike to use
It's
Gossman.
tabled, I will take it off the table and move that we hire Gossman. Well, do you want to ask them to come in first before we sign the contract?
Yeah, I think just before signing, but I'm okay if we, you know, fully act on that's the direction we're gonna
Okay,
go.
so I'll move that we enter into a contract with Gossman Group,
Pending prosecutor's approval. He hasn't looked at either one of those
pending the
yet.
prosecutor's approval.
And I think we need to define some scope.
And define, yeah,
Okay, that's fair.
okay, I was second.
All right. Further discussion at this point? Roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Herschel?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
So since regional planning going over this for you, do you want me to send out the, hey, can you come and talk to us letters, and the sorry, we're not accepting your proposal letters, and
You can coordinate with Stacy.
get that all set up with
Yeah.
you?
We've got a lot going with CT, and so we're making a lot of progress with them right now.
Right.
There's just a few things I think that popped out at Gossman. They've obviously done the transportation study and done some other building studies downtown, so we have some advantages there.
Okay, we'll get it scheduled then. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Any other old business? New business, airport.
Do you want to do Kelly's review first, or you wanna?
Yeah, because if we get a call for dogs and snowdrifts, we want to make sure available.
Thank you.
Thought you were gonna do the Columbus Zoo Hannah thing and bring a pet for
I
us.
could have brought my puppy.
That was the cutest little thing ever.
I was actually gonna bring my other dog.
Even the radio has pet of the week. I mean, you could have brought something.
I brought a dog the other day up here and everybody played with it and now it's at my house and it's doing really, really good. It's a little rotten, but it's Haley's 4-H dog, so it'll be good by the end of the year. All right, so in 2018, we handled 322 complaints. We picked up 174 dogs. We returned 85 of those 174. We euthanized 30. We had 0 dogs surrendered. We had 1 other. We transferred 0 dogs to the Humane Society. We issued 40 citations for multiple offenses. For 1-year licenses, we sold 9,809. 3-year licenses, it was 179, and we issued 30 permanent dog license for a total of 10,286. Our goals for 2019 is to increase the dog license sales to 10,500 individual tags. That's gonna be total tags for all 3, for the permanent, 3-year, and the permanent tags. We would like to increase our adoptions.
That would be to 1.
Do what?
If you have 1, you would increase them? You had none?
Oh, no, we had total 10,286, so we.
No, how many adoptions did you have?
Oh, we had,
None, right?
oh, it's not on here.
Oh. Okay, I thought dogs,
We adopted lots of dogs too. Just subtract all those and that's how many we adopted.
okay.
I thought, well, I wondered why that line was blank and then I couldn't figure it out this morning when I was printing it.
Because they're doing the math, there's 50-something dogs that must have been adopted.
That, the
Yeah,
ones that are not
roughly.
accounted for are adoptions.
Okay.
Yes, we'd like to adopt. We want to dispose of all our records when they're approved. We'd like to go to at least 2 state dog warden associations. They're now holding all of those in Columbus, so sometimes it's hard to get to them. We want to continue our established relationship with the police department, sheriff's office, and so that they better understand our department's responsibility.
Okay, so, during the course of the year, we have some discussion with the Humane Society. How is that situation?
We have not heard back from them.
Has there been any communication at all?
They've been through 2 or 3 directors since then. So
Okay.
I'm not certain who the new one is right now.
Okay. And the second thing is, we've talked in years past about needing a doggy port, if you will, on the back or whatever it is. Are we any further with that? Do we need to do that?
We're still working on that.
Okay.
We
We're
did set
okay.
up-
How much do we have in reserve here?
We set aside 100,000.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got the funds to be able to do something if you wish to get that done.
And if we want to adopt a dog, can you talk to us about that process? How do we become aware that there's a dog out there that's adoptable, and where are you posting that, just so we can get that information out?
All of our dogs are posted on Facebook.
All of them? All that are adoptable?
All that are adoptable, yes.
Okay.
We post on Facebook unless they're pretty much adopted before they, like,
Yeah.
somebody will come in and, oh, I'm gonna come back for this dog, so we won't put it on Facebook. They come back and adopt it. If they don't come back, then we post it on Facebook.
Okay.
Our adoption fee is $30, 15's for license, 15's for the dog. All of our dogs are adopted out as is. They're strays. We don't know their past history. We don't know their shot history. So it's, you get what you see. We have an adoption room set up. It used to be an old records room, but now it's our little adoption room. So you come in, you look at the dog in the kennel, you like it, we take it out. We play with it in the adoption room. And then if you want to adopt it, it's same-day adoption. You pay that $30. By law, we're required to hold a dog for 72 hours. We don't count our first day in. So if I pick a dog up on Monday, it goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The dog's available on Friday. But we have to have that 72-hour hold for the dogs that don't have licenses on. If a dog comes in and it has a license on, that's why it's very important to keep your license on your dog. We have to hold it for 14 days. With the actual license, we're able to get your information. We have your name, your address, and your phone number. With your name, we'll find you. So if you go on vacation, what happens? We go out to the house, we'll leave a door hanger, we don't hear from you in a day. We're required by law to send a certified letter. If we don't hear back, we'll go to your neighbor's house. Hey, where's Johnny at? Oh, they went to Disney for 2 weeks. Great, we'll hold the dog. We still continue to try to get a hold of a relative though. Even though that's not listed, we'll try to track somebody down to say, hey, their dog's here. So that's our adoption.
Number 1 lesson, have a license.
Yes, have a license and put it on your dog.
Yeah.
Your keys don't run away, your door doesn't run away. It's amazing. It's amazing how many people, they come in with their keys and they're like, yeah, I got my dog license right here. Well, your dog's in my shelter, but your keys are in your pocket. So if you lose your keys, we can track who owns the keys. That's not gonna do any good there. We have people that we regularly check their licenses, so they'll hang them right by the door. So when we knock on their door, they open the door, oh, they're right here. And we always say, oh, make sure you get them on the dog because your door didn't run away. So, with Julie's license system, we're able to track dogs. If your dog is licensed, say you have well, some breeds are harder than others, like black labs. We can track that down to a vicinity. So I can put in black lab, Tiffin, and I can even go by street to try to get the dog back before we impound it. We do that a lot. So a lot of people like to call us if you have your license on your dog because they want to be the hero, which is great with us as long as the person gets their dog back. So they'll call, who owns this dog? We don't want you to come get it, and they'll take it back to their owners, so.
So Kelly, we got some bumps in the road about who is and who isn't issuing licenses. Do we have, is that smoother now? Do you feel more comfortable with what we're doing?
The auditor's office issues the licenses.
Couldn't you do that for a while, or did we do it in Fostoria for a while?
I don't know what they're doing with Fostoria. That hasn't been told to me, so I don't know if we're selling dog licenses in Fostoria. If so, I'm not included in it.
Okay.
So, but.
But did we talk about you being able to issue some?
I can issue dog licenses with adoptions because that's required by law. Currently, I'm not in possession of tags.
Okay.
So I'm selling you the application, and I take them up there and pay them into the auditors. The auditors then mail them out. Instead of you receiving the actual license at my office, you have to wait a couple days, which doesn't do any good if the dog would run away. But it'll eventually come to you in the mail.
Okay.
So that's where that's at.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go freeze.
Mhm.
It's so cold.
Thank you, Russell, for that.
Yeah.
Can't fit it all on the front page.
Yeah, maybe we should move that to the front page.
Yeah, we
Uh,
talked about that. I heard that. Yes, yes.
New business, airport.
Airport, yes. Kind of got a call from Brad last week, and we didn't have, he's given our budget, so we have money in his budget, but it was not to include this. He's asking for about $2,500 to, it says the replacement of cutting edges on your Snow Wolf plow for the airport, 22 for parts. Installation would be 3.5 to 4 hours, so you've got around $300. That would include removing the old worn out edges, so about $2,500. I'm guessing it would have been great to have that before this weekend, but.
That's probably done.
So, we did not have money in place for this. We can use the money that we had in place for other things, but we'll eventually have to replace it if that's what you want us to do. He just missed this in his initial budget, so I wanted to at least bring it up before we went ahead and covered it under the current purchase order we have in place.
I assume it's one of those things you don't realize you need until you need it, I guess. And
You gotta have it. I mean,
Yeah. So
Got a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Shoulder shrug and okay.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Budget adjustments?
Budget adjustments. Yes. Okay. And hopefully we had new little adapters for our TVs that is supposed to eliminate the lag I had. So if there's any, let me know, because I'm going to be looking at this screen. My first request is from the clerk of courts. She had employees retire. She needs some additional funding in her title fund that she didn't put in place, so she needs $1,375 for HSA contributions. And sometimes those are a little difficult because the elected official doesn't really get notified as to what the employee is taking for their HSA, whether it's single, whether it's family. So most departments try to do a best guess because the elected officials don't get that information. We, like with our departments, we don't either. So
Might work out better with an HR director, right?
could be, yes. And then I have an additional request of $14,100 into the hospitalization line, again for her title department. So let's go back. I have a supplemental appropriation request from juvenile probate court. This looks like it's in her, she's got a special projects fund, 1093, additional $799 in hospitalization. And then her Allen Irie Special Guardianship Fund, she's needing an additional $500 for the HSA contribution. And I have a supplemental appropriation request from Regional Planning. This is on the CDBG, the CSB restroom upgrade. Since we didn't do it last year, we'll be completing it this year. So we need the $16,700 into the contract service line. And next one. As a request from the engineer into his road maintenance fund, he's asking for an additional $90,021.80. It's into his equipment garage line. So needed of new equipment for the fleet. And I think that is all of them. Okay. And I have paper ones. I have a resolution authorizing the fund transfer be made to the Soil and Water Fund, the $160,000 from our general fund to Soil and Water, amount we budgeted. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made for the LGF alternative formula to the EMA fund in the amount of $60,000. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Soil and Water Fund. Again, this is for the LGF formula for $10,000 for the floodplain administration. And then I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made for LGF alternate formula to the ambulance service fund in the amount of $330,000. That agreement is usually a 3-year agreement, so it goes through 2019. So sometime mid-year, we should start discussing those again. That the funding covers the ambulance, the workers' comp for the squads, the housing for the squads, administration, obviously the floodplain administration and EMA. So at some point we'll be talking about them for the next 3-year round. I have a resolution authorizing the fund transfer to be made to the Justice Center Operating Fund in the amount of $100,000. Resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Bond Retirement Fund in the amount of $50,000. I have a resolution appointing members to the Museum Advisory Board. I've got a chart here. We hadn't done it in a couple years, but I don't think anybody has changed other than, is it Dorothy Steinmetz? Is that her first name?
Yes.
She will be on the new term, and that would be the Historical Society's
Right.
appointed person. So,
Would you mind just running down through those names? so
yep. I have Fran Fleet, Chuck Christensen, Jan Dundor, excuse me, Teresa Sullivan, Dorothy Steinmetz, Mike Kirshner, Jim Supants, John Detweiler, and Mark Steinmetz. And each have a 3-year,
Revolving.
yep, appointment.
In which, the 3 that are the commissioner's appointments are
Our Detweiler,
Chuck,
Chuck, and obviously Mike.
and Mike. Okay.
Yep.
So are the 2 Steinmetz both on for the Historical Society?
Yes,
Is that a husband-wife?
It is.
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I have a resolution authorizing the sale of county-owned property, 2007 Ford Crown Victoria, on behalf of the sheriff. He sold for $976 through GovDeals. I have a resolution authorizing contract agreement for medical services with Dr. Sears on behalf of the Seneca County Sheriff's Department. This for 2019. I have a resolution authorizing contract service agreement with Vanguard Sentinel Career Center for GED instruction services for Seneca County jail inmates. And I think that's all I have.
All right, any discussion? I just want to say on the museum advisory board that, I just want to thank all those people for serving and Mike for heading it up for the commissioners. We've taken something that was very contentious a few years ago, and we're really working towards a very stable museum situation, and I give that board all the credit, so appreciate that.
Thank you. Commissioner Stacy had a lot to do with getting it reorganized too, so appreciate her work.
Thank you. Roll call.
Did we have a motion and a second to approve?
No.
I'll move to accept the resolutions as presented.
Second.
Okay. You didn't think it was coming? Roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. All right. Public comment. I would like to give the treasurer candidates a moment to introduce themselves. They're here. You obviously know what action we've taken today, so that takes a little bit of the mystery out of it, but you guys are here, so I'd like to give you a chance. Dave, you haven't been here yet, so.
Okay.
I'm David Hale, here to introduce myself as a candidate for county treasurer. And that feels a bit odd because I've known you all for many years, so I don't really feel like I need to introduce myself, but it is a different role. As you know, I'm a member of the Board of Elections now. I'm also a Republican County Chairman. It is our committee that will be making the actual appointment. But I would like to say that as chairman, I will be turning that over to the first vice chairman to take care of all of that. As soon as we get to that point in the meeting, I will let her take care of that. And we also have a screening committee, and they are taking care of it. So anything in relation to the committee, Republican committee making the appointment, I've taken a hands-off role on that. As you know, I have a business in town, so I'm very customer-focused. I have lived in Tiffin all of my life. I know most of the people that the treasurer would deal with, not just the commissioners, but the mayors for the land bank. Not every township trustee by any means, but the school board members throughout the community. I think that would be an asset to me as treasurer. I think my business role dealing with customers every day. A lot of government offices I don't think are customer focused, and I think that's important. People come in, they expect to be treated with respect. As a businessman, I have to do that, otherwise they don't come back. And obviously, if you have to pay your taxes in the treasurer's office, you do have to come back, but we want people to be treated with respect. I think I can do that as treasurer. I have a degree in public administration. You may not have known that, but I graduated from university with a public administration degree. That has helped with my business because I was a minor in business administration, but this would give me the opportunity to use that degree to the extent that I haven't used it in the past. Board of Elections, I think we have a much better relationship with the commissioners than we did when I joined the board almost 5 years ago. There were some very contentious times at that point. We have better staff now than we did then. We have a much better relationship with the commissioners, and I can't claim all of the credit for that, but I am willing to take some of the credit for that. And I would like to do that with the treasurer's office as well. I think you have an excellent relationship with Damon now. I think the office is very well run. I spent a couple hours with him a couple weeks ago. The various roles that he has, the staff that he has, I think we need to continue that. I'm not going in to make lots and lots of changes to upend things. I think we need to continue the fine work that Damon has done. And it's not the decision of two of you, because two of you are on the committee to make the decision, but just want to present myself, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Questions you
David.
have?
Nice job.
Thank you. Stephen, would you like to say something?
Sure. I'd just like to say I stopped in and saw Damon last week, visited the office, compliment him on his staff that he has there. They all seem to work well together, at least while I was there anyway, and enjoy their work. And compliment Damon on his updating of all the equipment and things that are in there, the scanners that the girls have. They all seem very pleased with all of that stuff. And if I'm elected, I'd like to continue on that and try and make sure that it stays updated and being able to serve the public and keep people happy with answering questions, getting their questions answered, and working with the rest of the boards that he does work with anyway.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm just curious of both of you, how do you think the process is working at this point? I mean, do you feel comfortable with the amount of correspondence you've gotten regarding the position and the process by which the Central Committee is going to eventually appoint someone? Any concerns along the way? Any thoughts about that?
I think it's been a good process. I've been given information, all the information from the Central Committee, and have the opportunity to go out and meet with them and talk with them and give them my qualifications and review and stuff. I've got the questions that the review committee's gotten, and it's been good for me anyway.
Well, good, because, you know, I mean, this happens occasionally. It's always good to know
Sure.
if the process is working. David?
I've actually been on this committee since I was in high school. I have been chairman of the executive committee for many years, and the central committee for a smaller number of years. So I've been through the appointment process with numerous offices. Actually, there are offices we have filled 2 or 3 or 4 times over the last 40 years or so. As I said, as chairman, I'm stepping aside from this specific one, but it is my intention to see that this goes as well as it should. We are governed by state law, so there is a state procedure that must be done. I think the most controversial thing that we've had in relation to making appointments to the office is approximately 5 years ago when Rich Klein became council president, Tiffin City Council, and had to resign his seat for 4th Ward City Council. The city law director, Brent Howard, was approached by the Advertiser Tribune about voting in public. I believe all of the appointments we had made in the past were done by secret ballot, secret written ballot.
Right.
It can be a disadvantage, I guess, that unfortunately somebody on the committee can say to both candidates in the race or all candidates in the race, well, of course I'm voting for you, when in fact they could only vote for one. Now the committee must vote by roll call vote. I spent a lot of time about 5 years ago. I sent Mike the email just today, but I think the other 2 of you were on the email list 5 years ago. I can forward that to anybody. The Ohio Attorney General has had a number of rulings, opinions, stating that because the precinct committee members are elected public officials representing the people in their precinct, and by extension, all of the voters in the county, that the voters are entitled to know who their elected representatives are voting for, just as every vote you take must be in public. You can discuss the purchase of land in a private session, but to actually purchase it, you must do it in public so that the voters can know how you are representing them. So unfortunately, that means that if I have 3 candidates in the race, as I did for the 4th Ward Council seat, I had to disappoint 2 of them. I had to only vote for one of those 3 candidates, and I know the other 2 weren't happy. And I know all the committee members are in that position, that you know many people throughout the community, and you also have to deal with that person, whoever wins the office.
Right. Well, I was just interested from the outside looking in, how that process seems to work. I mean, I think I know the logistics of it in the room that night, but just to get everybody to that point is where I was talking about. Thank you.
Can I just add that Vanessa's done a good job of getting all the information out to us and staying in contact with us with any questions and anything.
My default position is always public information should be public.
Sure.
Public business should be public. People should have as much information as possible. I don't like a process where somebody comes in at the last moment with something, some secret surprise. I like getting information out as much as possible so the other candidates who have approached me for the committee list, phone numbers and so forth. I have sent it to them, even though they're running against me. I believe they should have that information. They should be able to have the opportunity to contact the candidates. So I will send it to people who are running against me,
Good.
because I think that's the way it should be.
Thank you for agreeing to public service. Other public comments? Ella Kirshner, would you like to say something? All right, seeing no other business, we're adjourned.